Hi, this is Ricardo here, and this is my production devlog on my FMP. So if I'll pull up my Google Sites here, as you can see, production is practically done. It is fully done now as I'm moving into the post-production phase. And here you can see another asset list like the one from pre-production. But here it has a lot more that I wanted to pull off, a lot more that I wanted to do. And I felt like I was able to achieve this quite well because from my experience in my pre-production, um, I gained a lot more knowledge. I gained a lot more knowledge. I really did, because it let me experiment with a lot of things. It let me experiment with shading, getting the actual shape of things, how to make it look the way I wanted to, how to make it pop, and how to make it look, I say, 3D or non-isometric without it actually being a 3D object. So you'll see that much more here in this. The first big thing that I actually did was the tree. So this was actually quite challenging. This might be the hardest thing I did because it was quite an odd shape to work with. It's not like a tree is something that you can build up from. So I had to take inspiration from other sprites, other games. I had to actually look at trees in real life. I know, and then I got the rough shape for it. And I wasn't too happy with the way it looked. I felt like it looked quite skinny. I'm pretty sure it wasn't even actually correct on a mirror. If you were to mirror it, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't look correct. But I decided to completely remove one of the sides. I removed half of it, so I sliced it in half, and then I made a few tweaks, and I literally just selected half the side that I kept. I pasted it, and then I flipped it vertically, and I mirrored them together. I put them next to each other so they are perfectly the same now, no matter what you looked at it. And I just put the color in. I put a rough color in, so you can see here it is a tree. I think it's quite obvious that it's a tree here. I think I did quite a good job at demonstrating that. And you can also see here that I started adding shading. This was quite a big step because I was actually quite scared of going into it because I didn't know how I was going to look. I didn't know how I was going to actually get to this, but I'm glad I did in the end. But this actually helped a lot, just taking this leap into the shading part, because it taught me a lot. It taught me how an object can cast shadows on itself, and how if it has multiple layers, the layers are going to affect the ones beneath it. So as you can see here, the upper layers, they're much more bright compared to the ones down here, and that's because these layers are covering this bottom part. So that was something that taught me a lot. And as you can see, I practically kept the colors the same. I did change it a bit towards the top because I wanted to show that it is getting lighter, instead of darker, light, and not just keeping it the same color the whole way up. But yeah, you can see that here that I added much more detail. I added shading to the trunk itself. Changed the color of the trunk itself. I actually did have to experiment around with the color palette quite a bit here, because one of our things that we believe is that your limits will breed creativity, and that's what it did here. I really think it did. So yeah, that was the tree. A lot of detail in the end. I'm quite happy with it. I'm very happy with it actually. And then here's the fountain. This was something that was also quite hard to do with at the beginning, but it actually became quite easy in the end. And this was because I actually had no idea how I was going to make this originally. I had no idea, and it only clocked with me until my partner in this FMP, Dante, he taught me something, which was you can use the other tools you're given to help create something else with the other tools, if that makes sense. So here we got two rectangles we put within each other, and we kept them to a certain size. So now you don't have to do this with rectangles. I'm pretty sure you can do this with just a dot and another dot and going diagonally down from it. And we start the circle in this corner here, this one right here. That was the first circle. We expanded it out up to here. Then we made another one. We kept it to a diagonal way so that it makes sense. And then we did another circle. We put it through here, did it up to here. Now this ended up making the shape perfectly. There was no problems with it except for the back. So I guess it wasn't perfect, but that was something that we tweaked easily. I just had to cut it down a bit to show that you're actually looking at it from a head-on view and a horizontally diagonal down, because it is a top-down game. But yeah, that was something that was that got the ball rolling quite a bit, because from here on it was quite simple. It was just filling this in with one color and putting the water in, adding shadows to where the fountains were, and adding shadows to where the water would be darker. So this was quite a what's the word? This is quite a, I wouldn't say simple, but it was quite a helping process with the whole shape. Also, I am planning to animate this later on, so this will hopefully be one of our visual effects in the game. We'll have the water spraying out and then dropping back down, spraying out and dropping back down. That's something that we plan to add in. Now, if you remember from the previous devlog, you can see that I took a bit of work on the grass. Nothing crazy came from it in the original piece, but afterwards I think I made quite a lot of progress. I can find pros and cons for each of these pieces, or which I'm happy about, because it just shows that I have more room to grow, more room to actually develop on. First, let's start off with this piece. This piece is quite bare bones. As we said, it was a placeholder we put in the tile map, and yeah, I think it did its job for the time we had it, for the time being. And then about a week or two later, around the first day of production actually, I took a better look at it and I thought, how can I improve this? And I added more depth, more color, and I made it brighter. Now, when I say I made it brighter, I think it's a good thing that I did make it brighter, because it fueled the idea and the imagination for what this was going to be. But I made it too bright. This was way too bright. It took a lot of the attention off the viewer's eyes and straight onto the grass, so it was quite a hectic viewpoint. And yeah, it therefore needed some tweaking. So here's where I came with this. Also, I got a lot of ideas from here with the shading from just grass in real life, because when you look at grass, it's not like it's one whole color. You have different strands of grass that are different colors, and this fueled for this idea here, where I made it darker, of course, and I added small bits of detail. And I say that this paid off quite well, because I'm quite proud of how this came out.